One of the biggest finds we've ever had on this channel, a discovery that I made last year, was the brand Maltby. And on today's video, I've got a set of really intriguing irons. This is a super game improvement iron that also has some unexpected players' looks and feel to them. This is the STI Generation 2 iron from Maltby. Again, a club aimed for higher handicappers who need forgiveness. But there's some pretty interesting technology packed inside and just some aesthetic anomalies to these clubs that I've never seen in a super game improvement package. And on top of it, it does it at a price that is mind-boggling. I can't even imagine how these clubs could be $249 for a fully built set on the GolfWorks website. We're gonna be out here today playing 9 holes of golf to put them to the test, but first let's take a deep dive into the technology behind the STI Gen 2. All right, in hand I've got the 7 iron. Now, one of the first things when I pulled this out of the box that I thought was really unique to a super game improvement club is just how narrow that sole is. That does not look like a super game improvement sole. Generally, they're out like that. This one, much, much thinner. Now you can see this is a cavity back, and it's actually a progressive cavity and progressive offset throughout this set. The top line, I would call thicker, but still not super thick like you see in some game improvement clubs. And if I hold the 4 iron out, this is again one of the more intriguing things about this set. You do not see the backside of this club. So for a super game improvement club to do that, absolutely incredible. Now there's some other things hiding behind this package, which by the way, you can see written right on here. Maltby says that their playability factor is 701. That puts it in the super game improvement category. In fact, 701 plus. But underneath, you've got a gel behind the 4 through 7 irons, which is going to allow for better feel. In fact, you can see that here on our close-up of the 7 iron. That is right behind the sweet spot. And for a cast club that's built on a 431 stainless steel, Maltby says we're going to get some exceptional feel out of it. We're gonna find out here as we test. I've got this paired with what you get out of the club packs. And if you're searching on the website and you're wondering where the prices are for these clubs that are so inexpensive that I'm talking about, it's in the club pack section. The standard shaft is a Score by True Temper. This is a very inexpensive shaft. You can probably get it for $5 or $10 each. But I'll tell you what, it comes from a great name, and it's a really good performer. I've tried it before. I asked Maltby to give me medium grips here, so they've put a medium Super Stroke lambkin on here, which is going to be the standard grip in the club pack. So this is a stock club. Now, one more thing that I know a lot of fans of the show are gonna be happy to hear is that this set of clubs is available in both right and left-handed. That's not generally the case for these Maltby clubs, but it is with the STI Gen 2. So hopefully a lot of folks are happy. So there's the main technology. Now, another thing that to me really blew my mind was the fact that the loft structure of these clubs is also not a super game improvement loft structure. The 7 iron sits at 32 degrees, and you can see on screen here where the rest of the lofts are for this set. That is more of a player's loft structure, but I think that's a really good thing because so many amateurs need to get the ball up in the air easily. So having a lot of distance and no stopping power isn't necessarily a good thing. And we're gonna see if on course those specs prove out. It's time to head to the first tee and see what happens. First hole here is my favorite starting hole. We've got 3 9s, but this is the 9 that I like to start on because the first 2 holes are gettable, including this par 5, which is gonna play about 395 from where we are on these forward set of tees. I've got 4 iron in hand. I've got my G80 here to measure shots. Let's get to work. Boy, that is a nice looking high trajectory, good ball flight with a slight draw. My club head speed there was 84. The ball speed was 123, which is a good number for that club head speed. And that's because the smash was extremely high, 145. Very good start. And the estimated carry there, 177. I gotta imagine it's gonna be a little further than that out there, but we've got this to tell us exactly. Now, the Maltby website mentions feel specifically with their clubs. They say that this gel, especially in the 4 through 7 irons, is going to help feel, make it feel like more of a forged club. Obviously that was just my first shot, but I did take a few shots with it out on the range as well. I would say the feel is decent. I have felt better cast clubs, but in this category of super game improvement, it's definitely up there. All right, let's see where this one finished. All right, well, this has hit a very long way. I am not here too often on the first hole after the first swing. And we finished here at 212. Almost made it up to where this cart path crosses through the fairway. So on a super wet, dewy morning, and as you can see, that ball actually landed in the rough. That flew a very long way. So excited about the distance. I was a little worried after seeing the loft structure of these clubs, but getting plenty of distance there. All right, let's see what we've got in. 195 is the number we've got in. I'm gonna take 5 iron here, and we'll see if we can get home in 2. On a very straight line. I think we're maybe just in front. It may have kicked on. Was not a great strike, but I'll tell you what, these are some seemingly very straight and forgiving clubs, which is what the level of golfer who'd be playing these clubs really needs. In this super game improvement category, we're talking about higher handicaps, maybe potentially into mid handicaps, but generally folks that are really concerned about straight ball flight, who need to keep it straight, don't need to necessarily be so workable. We will test workability here as the day progresses. Can I move this ball left and right and left? But early indications, it seems to be a very, very straight club. And guess what? We do in fact have an eagle putt. That made the green. So distance-wise, we're getting everything we would want out of this club. So I landed right here and it kicked forward nicely. So early eagle putt, that is how I love to start a round. It's not gonna be the easiest putt out here, but I'm happy to have it. The other thing that's nice about morning golf is I've actually got a good idea of the line because I saw someone's ball come through here. So you only get those trails early morning though. That trail completely deceived me. I don't know how that's possible. There must be a spine on this green because you can see the trail I was looking at and the trail my ball took, completely different. Unbelievable. I got the speed right too. Okay, that's just one of those head scratching things about golf. Still got a crack at birdie here though. All right. So that's the way to start. All right, so a shorter hole. There's no percentage in me taking a really long club here because I only get myself into trouble as it gets more and more narrow. So I'm gonna go 5 iron, which after the last 5 iron we hit, I think is gonna be the perfect club here. Oh, that's perfect. Man, that is so high for a 5 iron. That one felt really good too. So I continue to test the feel here as we go, but that shot felt glorious, looked glorious, and landed in a glorious spot as well. Okay, so I'm slightly in between clubs, but we're gonna unwrap the pitching wedge here for this shot. There's also a gap wedge. I think it's absolutely insane what they are selling these clubs for. Now, I'm not sure if there is a problem, and if there is, I'm now alerting Maltby to the problem, but you can either buy a 4-through pitching wedge and gap wedge, so that's what, an 8 club set for $249. You could buy it 5-through gap wedge or 6-through gap wedge, all the same price. So something's probably wrong, and that'll probably get updated, but right now, that is like the steal of the century. So 125 pitching wedge, the pin's in a very gettable spot. I'm gonna go right at it. The nice smooth swing, hopefully. Now I caught it thin, but that is on a really good line. Impressive forgiveness. We got another birdie putt. Let's drain it. All right, pretty darn good. I couldn't quite see from back there exactly where it finished. Got the distance control perfect. Doesn't get better than that. Just gotta finish it off here with a nice confident putt. 2 holes, 2 birdies. Doesn't happen often on this show. I'm pretty pumped right now. Heading to 3. Might be a mistake in brash confidence here, but I'm gonna go 4 iron on a very narrow hole. This is where the course really gets difficult, but I feel a lot better going into this 2 under than 2 over, which we probably have been in the last couple of rounds out here. I'm favoring the left side because there's so much water on the right, but I might have hit that too far actually. It's gonna be close. We could be into the cypresses. This hole just gets so narrow the further you go, but that's the path I wanted it to be on. Felt good in the middle of the club face. Let's see where we finished. All right, here we are. I should have hit that 5 iron. I really wanted to, but I got aggressive, and now we're gonna have to just punch out. Gotta take your medicine sometimes. All right, I had to play it directly out here, 90 degrees. I've got 148 in, so we need a birdie for a par at this point. I'm gonna go 9 iron. Again, it's another club I haven't hit, so we're gonna unwrap it and you're seeing my first swings with these, you know that for sure. I like to make a little better contact than I did with that pitching wedge. I didn't even take a divot on that hole. That pin's in a tough spot to get at though. That's extreme right and cut over a bunker. So I'm gonna play a little more conservative type of shot, but again, we need a birdie for a par here. That is right at it. Wow, it took a really weird kick on the green. I don't know what it hit, but we'll find out. We're gonna have a putt one way or the other to save par here. One thing I am a little concerned always with game improvement clubs is stopping power. I'm not so concerned with these clubs, again, at the loft structure they sit at. It's an interesting couple of releases here from Maltby that we've tested, because the TS 3.5 irons, which if you missed that video, I will link to it right here for you. That loft structure I did not love for a player's set of irons. When you've got a 29°7 iron, that's just too strong of a set. This is a much weaker set than you would get out of a super game improvement. These days we're seeing 27.5 degrees of the 7 iron, which is almost basically a 5 iron, at least what used to be a 5 iron. So interesting releases here from Maltby. I wasn't swinging my best with the 3.5s, there's certainly that, but I had also had a chance to test them a little bit after that video, and either way, I much prefer this set of irons to that one. And let's see where that finished, because again, that was such a weird bounce. I think I have found the pitch mark here. Pretty sure this is it. So that makes sense of why it took such a weird hop. It actually, there's a seam here on this green. If Sean can zoom in, we've got the best cameraman on YouTube, and I think that is probably what caused it to scoot that way. I do want to check stopping power, but this is not the hole to do it. But this is the hole to make a comeback par. I'll call this 22 feet. Should be breaking left or right. Although, who knows? After what we saw on the first hole, there's no saying what's going to happen out here. Woof, that was fast. Whoa. Okay, well, this has been a fun round so far. This is no easy comeback putt now for bogey. Thin part of the green here too, which is also making it hard for me to even place my ball the way I want to. All right, woof, did not want to surrender a double there. So we're back to -1, but we're still -1, but another tough hole ahead of us. Can't make the mistake I just made. Just got to put one in the fairway here with a little bit more of a conservative shot. All right, I'm actually going to use this Bushnell, which is courtesy of our friends over at playbetter.com. You can see this hole from where we're playing, 317. So 180 is the ideal layup for this shot. I think 6 iron, if I can really control it, is probably the club. And we haven't hit the 6 iron, so let's do it. 5 iron could get me into a little bit of trouble. We'll be a little bit more conservative here. Oh yeah. Man. So easy to swing these clubs. I'm really liking them. This could be the super game improvement club of the year. All right, so 187 is how far I hit that shot. And that is great. Again, for the loft structure of these clubs, all you need. When you get more than that, again, you're gonna risk stopping power. And that's hopefully what I can test right here. We're gonna see where this thing lands on the green, where it rolls out to. I've got 151 to the flag stick. Wind behind, there's plenty of pop in these. Just gotta make a good swing. Oh, baby. Nice and high. Very straight. Felt great. Sun's into my eyes, so I can't exactly see where it finished. I know we're a little right of the pin. I just don't know how far that rolled out. It seemed it did roll a little bit. I was on a downhill lie there. It's also wet and dewy, so those factors are going against stopping power for sure. But let's find out. So where do we finish? Yeah, we're right on the green. The distance was perfect. This is where it landed though. So we did get a lot of kick forward. That's my pitch mark. 3, 6, 9, 12, 22 feet it rolled out. Wet conditions, downhill lie. We'll need to continue to test. Either way though, this is as good of a crack at birdie as I've had on this hole in quite some time. Should be moving left to right. Oh, I would have loved that one. We're still in a great spot. Heading to our first chance at an ace here. Number 5, par 3. 143 is the number. Now we're into the wind all of a sudden. So I think, again, 9 irons the play. This is probably the trickiest pin position we could possibly have on this hole. Short right, and I got to carry a lot of water, probably 120 yards almost of water. Again, I might make a little bit more of a conservative swing, but the nice thing about these irons is that I can almost just go at them because they're so straight, but I'm going to aim a little left of that pin. And I struck that slightly toe side, so it's a little further left than I want to be, but distance perfect. And once again, I sound like a broken record, but I like this record. We've got a birdie putt. Really impressive distance control with these clubs. I mean, I've been basically pin high, I think, every single hole. This will give us a good idea of stopping power. In fact, look at this. On a flat surface, we got 3 inches of roll out there. So I don't think stopping power is any concern. I didn't think it would be with this loft structure. It's just an impressive set of irons. All right, 25 feet here, a little downhill, I think a little left to right. I'm gonna leave the flag stick in because this second part of this putt gets real fast. Gotta get the speed right. Settle, settle, settle. Whew, see that? That's what I was worried about. This is a lot longer putt than I'd like to have for my par, but it's a par. All right, we've got 4 holes to play here. We're still sitting at 1 under. There's always in golf, you could say, man, I should have had this, should have done that. The fact is we're at 1 under, but I'm loving the opportunities I'm getting. Hope we can keep it up. A little longer hole here. It's gonna play 366, almost as far as that par 5 we played. So we're going back to the 4-iron because I wanna have a short iron in my hand to attack this pin. Straight as an arrow. All right, after that perfect 4-iron, I've got 162 to that flag stick. There should be a little wind in my face, even though I don't feel it right here. It's got to be up there, so I think the club is a 7-iron. 162 would normally be a 6-iron, I think. But, well, yeah. In fact, we haven't hit the 7-iron yet today either, as you can see, so I think that is probably the move. Boy, it's on a good line. Oh, baby. The trend continues. Birdie putt incoming. Now this one is a little short of the hole. Like I said, there's certainly some wind into us. I also, if you noticed, didn't take a divot there. I caught it pretty thin. This hole always downhill, kind of side hill lies. This time it didn't kick forward either, which I kind of expected it to. So either way, I don't mind being here at all. Below the hole, uphill putt. I think it's makeable. Definitely makeable. I was thinking the greens look really green today. Now I know why. They're cheating. That also can't be good. There's my hand just from playing here today. So, interesting thing about golf. When I was a kid, I always thought, oh, golf courses are such natural environments, and they can be. Links courses would certainly fit that bill in a lot of ways, but a lot of times these courses are manufactured to look as good as they do. Certainly looks nice. All right, I don't see why I don't hit 4-iron here. It's pretty wide open on this hole. I don't know if you've been keeping track at home, but I've only missed 1 green in regulation so far, and it's the one I had to punch out from, and I still hit the green on the next shot anyways. So, man, amazing results so far. That's the first one I missed a fairway, as I said that. But that was all swing. I left it out to the side there. It hit that palm tree. We're gonna have a challenging shot. I almost need a challenge though, because it's been almost too easy right now. Pinching myself about how easy this round has been. All right, now I've got a pretty thin lie in the rough here. I got lucky, it bounced down to this palm tree. It could have easily gotten stuck up there. And I've got 166 to the hole here and a clear shot. I just got to get up over these trees. Now, I mentioned it in the closer look section, but another impressive thing to me about these clubs is this thin sole that's built into them. I was hoping I had actually a little thicker rough lie to show you how it would come out, although we did see that on the first hole. But a thin sole on a Super Game Improvement Club is pretty nice. I'm just in between a 7 and an 8 here. I got to cover a big bunker. It's a tough one. I think I'm going to go 8. I'm going to play it a little out to the left, just a touch though, in case I don't quite 100% get this one. Whoop! 4! All right, well, I think the lie played a little bit of a role there. I did not expect that shot, so, well, we've got the, what do they call it? The announcer's curse. I was standing on that tee box saying I've hit almost every green in regulation. And now I almost killed a couple people out here on the golf course with that shot. So for the first time, I get to actually see if I can get up and down with the Maltby wedges, which I've already tested on the show and loved. And I've got them in my bag here again today because they are that good. All right, now the question is, do I go 56 or 52? I think I'm gonna try 56 for this shot. Tricky shot, because I gotta go up over a hill and then it gets actually fast afterwards. Gotta get the weight of the shot right. That's the main thing here. I don't think I did. Go. Yeah, didn't quite catch that hill. All right, so that leaves us a pretty long putt here for par. Again, about another 20-footer or so. We'll leave that flagstick in again. Yeah. All right, so we got a bogey here. Back to even par. We got 2 holes to play. We got a par 3 and a par 5 coming up. Then, of course, we're gonna rank these clubs. I think you know it's gonna be a big score. All right, another club we have not hit is a gap wedge, and we're gonna have a chance to do that right now. This is a 121 shot. There is a little wind in the face, so I probably have to hit more like 125. And again, water and then a bunker in front, so distance control is at a premium here. I could take a smooth pitching wedge, but I'm gonna really go after this gap wedge. And that looks really good. Get in the hole. Oh man. That was coming right down the smokestack. Got ourselves another birdie putt again. So we're on the 8th hole. That's 6 out of 8 greens in regulation and a lot of really good chances. I'd love to strike right now though. Time to make a putt. We'll check the pitch mark here. Had some good action on it though. In fact, it probably backed up a little bit. So stopping power, definitely good with these irons. Here it is, here's where I hit. I almost wanted it to kick forward that time and actually came back a little bit. We've got 12 feet here for our birdie. Oh, just didn't break. All right, still even par. We got 1 hole to play. After I hit my drive, we're gonna rank these clubs. All right, last hole. We're gonna go 1 more 4-iron here once the guys in front of us clear out. People always think that I'm playing out here all by myself, but again, we have such a good camera person in Sean that you just don't see people a lot on this course. But right now, actually today, I'm sandwiched between kind of a slower group of 3 in front of me and a really fast single behind me. So it can be pretty challenging doing these videos when it comes to that sort of pace of play. But if you do like these videos, go ahead and hit subscribe. It helps more than you know. And if you really want to help the channel, here in the holidays, we've got some merch. You see the hat that I'm wearing right now. It's our Mere Mortal brand. I've also got some beautiful shirts on the site, and our own irons are coming out. In case you're looking for a player's distance iron, I think it is, for the price, the best one out on the market right now. So that's on the site as well. Take a look, here we go. And we're back to the middle of the fairway. All right, it's time to rank these clubs. As you know, I've got 5 categories we rank them on. Now, the first of the categories is distance. And distance, I always rank clubs based on the category they live in, okay? These are super game improvement irons, and there are longer super game improvement irons out on the market. If I was giving a ranking just on distance in general, 4.5 out of 5 would be the number. For these particular irons in the super game improvement category, I think 4 is the right score for distance. Ample distance, as long as any club on the market that sits at this loft structure. Okay, but for super game improvements, we're gonna call it a 4 out of 5. In terms of forgiveness, full 5 out of 5 stars without hesitation. And if I could bump it up, I say this with the best clubs we play, if I could give it a 6, or in this case, maybe even a 7, it would get that. I mean, you've seen how many greens I've hit here today and just how accurate I've been hitting fairways and greens. When it comes to workability, this is where we're actually gonna see a little bit of a bump because it's a super game improvement club. You don't expect much out of a super game improvement club, but I have been able to control trajectory exceptionally, distance exceptionally. I've been pin high most holes here today. In terms of left, right, right, left, being able to shape my shots, it's not going to have a lot. But for a super game improvement club, it's ample. This club is really meant to be a straight club, but for a super game improvement club, again, we're gonna give it 4 out of 5 stars here. Now, when it comes to aesthetics, looks, feel, and sound, I think for me it's an easy 5 out of 5. I've really started to enjoy the feel of these clubs. I mentioned it after the first shot that I wasn't 100% satisfied with the feel, but as I started to hit it in the middle of the club face here as the day's gone on, it is a full 5 out of 5 in terms of feel. And certainly with those nice looks at address, where you don't see the back cavity, which is so rare for a super game improvement club. And the fact that you got that thinner sole section, everything's in its favor in terms of looks. And then in terms of sound, it has excellent sound as well. So 5 out of 5 is an easy score for me. And value, again, this might be the first club that if I could give it an 8 out of 5, I would do that. Because at $249, it's just, I can't even fathom how that's possible, to be quite honest, in 2025. At the end of the year here, heading into 2026. We've got irons on the market that probably on average from the big manufacturers are over $1,000 at this point. Super game improvement clubs generally are a little less, but $899, $999, even $1,100 is very, very normal at this stage of the game. So the price is just out of this world. It's a 5 out of 5. And again, should be higher. So here on your screen's the score. I don't even think it reflects as much as I like these clubs in the super game improvement category. It's just we have rankings that were consistent on how we do things. But let me tell you, I can easily say of the super game improvement clubs that I've tried on this show, these are the best, without a doubt. I think they're a little better than super game improvement clubs. To me, they're game improvement with exceptional forgiveness. And I could see mid-handicap players playing this club. So if you are a beginner, all the way up to about a 15, maybe even a 12. That's how wide of a range of clubs this could potentially suit. I think these are just a fantastic option. Up there with the Wilsons, some of my favorite clubs that I've ever tested on this show. The Wilson Staff Dynapower is always my pick generally in the game improvement category, but this might easily be my new pick. I can't stop talking about how much I like these clubs. 2 more shots here to finish the day strong. That one's heading towards a bunker. Sit. The other game improvement clubs, not super game improvement clubs, that I really love are the Srixon ZXI 4s. And in fact, I keep those clubs up at the top of my bag in my normal set. I say that because I could easily see people comboing this set because it's just so easy to hit the 4, 5, 6 irons in this set. And then you could get a more advanced club like the TS3s or TS4s even from Maltby. You're gonna build a really nice combo set that way, where you've got a super forgiving top of the bag and a really, really good performing bottom of that bag. A lot of options. I almost wish they had a 3 iron because I could see it being a great driving iron. I'm gonna have to maybe look into Maltby driving irons if they've got any. If they can perform anything like this club, could be a real weapon. I've got 115 in. I think we're gonna go gap wedge. We got the wind in our face. I think that's gonna be the right club. This hole always plays a little bit longer, so I'm gonna hit about a 120 shot here. I've had such a blast with these. No matter how this hole goes, I've enjoyed these immensely. It would be nice to finish with a birdie though. It's on the right line, just a little left of the pin. We got another putt at it. I think the putter has been pretty good today, but we've had so many opportunities too. I think it was actually really good on longer par putts. I was automatic with it on those testy, 6 to 4 footers. It's performed really well. I would like to make one more putt with this though, and really finish this one with the cherry on top. And that last shot there was out of the rough, so again, no problem coming out of it. I've been taking the flagstick out. I'm gonna keep it in for this one. It's kind of that aim small, miss small. I'm gonna aim for the flagstick, see if we can finish right. Uphill, a little left to right. Oh baby, yeah, I didn't give it enough break. What a set of irons. At this price point, can't be beat, honestly. And I don't say that lightly. I hope you enjoyed this show. If you are looking for some of Maltby offerings in maybe a more players package, check these out. These are one of the few clubs we've ranked 98 points on this show. They're that good. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you next time on another edition of Let's Play